They saw her and froze. Not because of who she was, but because of what she looked like. Her clothes were torn and colorless. Her skin, tanned by years of harsh sun. Her hair, tied in a loose bun, was messy, unkempt. She walked into the grand wedding hall like a ghost, someone misplaced, forgotten, uninvited. Eyes turned, gasps rose, and judgment fell like daggers. The guests, dressed in shimmering silks and diamond-crusted gowns, looked at her with disgust. Someone whispered, "She's here to beg." Another muttered, "Security should take her out." But the woman, frail and quiet, kept walking, each step trembling, as if her legs barely obeyed her. She clutched a bouquet of wilted flowers, petals falling with every breath of wind, and stood at the back, just beneath the glowing chandelier, eyes fixed not on the decorations, not on the crowd, but on the man at the altar, the groom. When he saw her, his face went pale. The music stopped. The world stopped. And then, someone shouted, "Get her out of here. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the power of love, then please like this video, subscribe to Echoes of Life, and share it with someone who needs to remember that every soul has a story worth hearing." Zoya was not always a woman of rags. Once, she was radiant. Once, she had dreams bigger than her village, eyes wider than the skies above. A simple schoolteacher with ink-stained hands and a heart full of warmth. She lived in a tiny house on the edge of a dusty road, where her mornings began with chalkboards and ended with feeding her ailing father. Life was difficult, but never without love. She didn't have money, but she had respect. She didn't wear silk, but she wore dignity like a crown. Her world changed the day Armin Mirza came to her school. He was posing as a volunteer, humble, soft-spoken, a city boy trying to give back. What Zoya didn't know, what nobody did, was that Armin was the only son of a textile tycoon, heir to a fortune so vast it drowned people in greed. But he came to her like a breeze, gentle, unnoticed at first. He watched her teach children who had nothing and still made them smile. He stayed after hours to help fix broken benches, and when her bicycle chain broke, he carried her books without a word. Slowly, quietly, love grew, not from wealth or appearances, but from sincerity. When Armin asked her to marry him, he gave her no ring. Just his word. "We'll build a life," he had said. "Even if we start from nothing." They married in secret, under the banyan tree behind the school. No guests. Just her father, a local imam, and a sky full of stars. For a time, they were happy. Truly happy. But Armin's world came crashing in too soon. His father found out. So did his mother, who cared more about high society than honesty, more about reputation than relationships. "You married a maid?" She spat. "Do you know what that does to our name?" Armin tried to defend Zoya. He begged them to see her soul, not her salary. But the business world had no place for such love stories. His inheritance was placed on the line. His name threatened with ruin. And just like that, the man who had promised to fight for her, broke. In silence. He asked her to wait. To go away, for a little while. To stay hidden while he figured things out. She did. Zoya left the city and returned to her village. Her father died a month later. She buried him alone. She waited for Armin's letters, his calls, his promises. None came. The silence became her reality. Years passed. She moved to the city again, not for him, but to survive. She worked in kitchens, cleaned offices, slept in hostels. The man she had once married was now a ghost she saw only in newspaper photos, standing beside politicians and celebrities. He had become a national icon. A self-made man. No one knew about her. No one remembered she ever existed. Until the day she saw the invitation. Someone had left it behind at the tea stall she cleaned every morning. A golden envelope. Embossed letters. Arman Mirza weds Maya Azim. A wedding of dynasties. Of billionaires. Of people who had everything. Zoya stared at it for hours that night. Not with jealousy. Not even with pain. But with something quieter. Something lonelier. She had let go of the fairy tale long ago. But deep down, she still remembered the man who had once held her hand beneath the stars and promised, forever. On the day of the wedding, Zoya didn't plan to go. But her heart did not obey her logic. She found herself walking the streets, holding nothing but a handful of wilted flowers and the letter. She didn't wear makeup. She didn't try to disguise the woman she had become. She only hoped, maybe, just maybe, he'd see her. And he did. When Arman saw Zoya at the back of the hall, something inside him shattered. Years of buried shame, of cowardice, of betrayal, they came flooding in like a tidal wave. The crowd's judgment meant nothing. The bride standing beside him felt like a stranger. All he saw was Zoya, the woman he had failed, the woman who still looked at him not with hate, but with quiet forgiveness. He stepped down from the altar. He picked up the bouquet she had dropped. And then, in front of everyone, he whispered, "She's my wife." The hall erupted in gasps. Maya's parents demanded answers. Cameras flashed. Security guards panicked. But Arman was no longer afraid. He took Zoya's hand, kissed it, and turned to the crowd that once idolized him. "Years ago," he said, "I married this woman in secret. Because I was afraid of losing everything. But today, I realize, she was everything." He walked out of the wedding with her. No wealth. No applause. Just silence. But in that silence, Zoya smiled. She didn't need a prince anymore. She needed a man who had finally become one. They started over, not as millionaires, not as media stories, but as people. They moved to a small home near the sea, where Arman opened a modest school in Zoya's name. He never returned to the empire his parents built. Instead, he built something better, an honest life. They aged together. They laughed often. They cried sometimes. But they never slept another night apart. And those who once threw her out? They faded into the background of a story they never truly understood. If this story touched your heart, if you believe that true love never dies, and that some people do deserve a second chance, then please like, share, and subscribe to Echoes of Life. And leave a comment below. Tell us, what would you have done if you were in Zoya's place? Because sometimes, the greatest love stories are the ones that almost got lost.